Hey, it's Matt Roush,
And Mike Brennan.
and we are back with the May 18th, 2020 version of the M Squared TechCast, or MITechNews.TV, right here at podcastdetroit.com and wherever fine podcasts are distributed. We've got a great show for you today, some interesting guests as usual. Mike, why don't you kick it off with our first guest?
We have calling in from Seattle, I believe, Nathan McDonald, the managing partner and CEO of Keiretsu Capital. How are you, Nathan?
I'm doing great, Mike. Great to be with you guys.
Let's talk about the 900-pound gorilla in the room, COVID-19. And from your point of view, what is the short-term impact of startup funding for COVID-19, Nathan?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I've been on a few shows here, and the answer's kind of changed week to week as we've had to deal with the situation over the last couple months. You know, everyone going through the initial adjustment period, and then one of the quotes from our portfolio companies: "In the midst of crisis lies great opportunity." You know, and so we've from Albert Einstein a lot of inspiring quotes here, and the entrepreneurs in our portfolio have been very inspiring in how they pivoted and really adapted to the change and been able to. In a lot of ways, take advantage of it now and being able to be more efficient in their operations. But, short term, it created a lot of uncertainty and we weren't quite sure what was going to happen. But as we've seen in the public markets with the amount of liquidity that's been pumped in, there's a lot of capital out there, and people have learned through the last couple corrections that, this is the time when you need to keep your heads up and be looking for opportunities, look for companies that have an opportunity to really benefit from the current situation. And it's a great way to put your capital to work in addition to everything we can do with our time and efforts and staying safe and staying home.
All right. Well, what do you think of the long-term impact? When we finally do get some kind of treatment or a virus or something, how do you think that's going to change things?
Yeah, I'm not sure if long-term is weeks, months, or quarters at this point, but, it feels like June is a long time away at this point. And, I just had someone drop off a birthday gift for my daughter here that she was at a party. It was just 2 months ago, but it feels like a lifetime ago. So, our whole perception of time and everything has really been thrown off on this whole thing. And I think it's going to continue into the future in that some businesses are going to continue to see an acceleration. And those are typically technology companies that can operate independent of a retail location, that don't have to meet face-to-face with clients or have alternative means of doing so. And you're going to see a continued hit to the 15% of our economy, which unfortunately employs like 40% of our workforce. They are going to continue to have some significant headwinds. And I think, the transition for big box retail and a number of the wounded brands that were already out there are going to continue to see headwinds and tough times ahead. Whereas those who have been more innovative and more technology forward are going to be the ones that are going to win and come out of this in the long term. So it's just really accelerated a lot of the existing trends towards technology adoption throughout the economy. And unfortunately, that means the big companies are going to keep getting bigger and really at the expense of a lot of the mainstream operations that may not have the technology sophistication to keep up.
Well, I was already reading stories about the retail apocalypse even before any of this happened, right? So, and when you have people like the CEO of Taubman Centers saying, there used to be 3,000 malls in this country, and now there's 2,000, and there probably only need to be 800 or 900. That's going to be a big deal, regardless.
Exactly.
Yeah, those little mom and pop operations, 1, 2, 3 people that they've poured their lifetime savings into, they're the ones really at risk, I think, at this point. So let's talk a little bit about getting back to the when is that going to be, right? But let's, try to be optimistic and say, what are you doing to prepare for the market after the lockdown ends that we can deal with short term, right?
Yeah, I think that's the real opportunity for entrepreneurs out there that have raised capital, that want to raise capital. It's really looking hard at your business, your core focus, and really looking at into the future and what is that new reality going to look like. And in some cases, it removes a whole set of barriers to distribution, barriers to entry, because it eliminates a whole string of competition that was out there before and really brings everything into a center platform. So it's a very interesting dynamic time, and it's been great watching our entrepreneurs react to the situation. We had our annual meetings a couple weeks ago where we looked at 100 different portfolio companies and how they'd reacted to the situation. And by and large, they were quick to make sure they adjusted their business focus and their core operations to make sure that they extended their runway if needed to, or cut off the things which aren't as essential. In any business, right, we're spending 80% of our time on the things that actually aren't that important. And so, now that we don't have extra time, it's really focusing on our core customers and making sure that we're able to sustain and be profitable. And so that when things do improve and things get back to quote normal, these are the companies that are going to thrive and be able to grow. So, on one hand, survival is a goal this year, and then survive to thrive is the mantra that we live by.
All right. Well, what's the new investment thesis? What's the new investment theme that the pandemic has given us?
Yeah, it's interesting when you look across industries. If you look at real estate, it's quite a dynamic time, to say the least, with, I think, a lot of real challenges ahead in the debt market around commercial real estate and what it's going to happen as places return to work and some of those valuations and pricing models get thrown into flux. If you look in the life science area, obviously huge funding and huge need to bring our healthcare system into the 21st century here, into the current technology state of the art, which has just not been done because it's so fragmented. So huge opportunities there to improve healthcare delivery, healthcare tracking, data management, giving the consumers more control. And then when we look at information technology, again, just continued adoption of technologies and being able to manage remote work, manage remote workforces, going beyond the physical footprint to really, being able to recruit globally for your team and be able to take advantage of the benefits for that. And we think there's going to be a big acceleration in the fintech and in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency area. As we've seen with our federal government sending out hundreds of billions in stimulus money to everybody, putting in an application, there's ways to do these things easier and make sure they are validated. And we've got a huge unemployment fraud issue here in the state of Washington that they're dealing with, and actually had to shut things down for a couple of days. So there's really easy fixes with technology to some of these legacy problems. And I think there will finally be the willpower to actually adopt these technologies and bring things forward, which I think, ultimately set us on a better course and bring some of these innovations that haven't quite had the opportunity to get into the market will become more of the expected state of the art.
Yeah, certainly. I think accelerating the remote workforce video world kind of whole thing. And of course, Zoom hasn't exactly been hurt by all this. I think that's one of the few stocks that has really taken off, right? But there are a lot of other alternatives out there besides Zoom. But I think in general, a lot of people have been wanting to work remotely for a long time, just haven't been able to talk their bosses into it. And now this is this great experiment. And so I think they've discovered that, well, a lot of these people can work from home, and that really changes the dynamic quite a bit.
Or at least
Exactly
work,
right.
or at least work from home part of the time. That's what I think is going to start happening.
Yeah, the chance to get outside of we had already seen the kind of Northern California reach capacity and the Silicon Valley kind of exodus. That was already going on, has been going on for a couple of years now, and just the price and just, squeezing more into the Silicon Valley isn't the answer for prosperity for our whole country. So we'd seen a lot of people obviously been moving to Seattle, been moving to Bend, been moving to Denver and Boulder and other places like that. And we just continue to see a big acceleration of that, which I think is very healthy for our overall economy to be able to spread that technology and that workforce out, across a much greater, quality of life, quality of community, and just to more integrated. So I think long-term, I think it'll continue to be very healthy to see that distribution of the technology workforce instead of the continued concentration of it, which has been the trend for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the background of Keiretsu Capital. How did that company get started, and how has its focus evolved over time?
So Keiretsu is a global community of entrepreneurial investors who built and sold multiple companies, and we want to recycle that expertise and mentor and support the next generation of entrepreneurs. So Keiretsu Forum is 55 chapters globally, about 3,000 members, and we collaborate around due diligence and screening opportunities, and then syndicating and really learning from each other's experiences. And then Keiretsu Capital was set up about 5 years ago for our members to be able to invest in funds that would be diversified across companies that had due diligence completed and were syndicating and finishing off their rounds of funding. So it's hard to get a lot of data on the angel investing experience and activity. So this was one way for us to capture a set of opportunities, now invested in over 100 companies over the last 5 years, and been able to track their progress and also work with family offices and corporate investors and really create that coordination and support across our investment community. And we're very happy to have a chapter in the Midwest there as well, in Chicago and Ann Arbor and Cincinnati, and encourage anyone who's interested to look at getting your capital put to work. There's a lot of people who want to do impact investing and want to be involved and help. Again, everybody can help, and even 10, 15, 20K of investment can make a big difference for these companies. So I encourage everyone, if it's something appropriate, take a look at it and see if it's something that could be a good way for you to also help investing in some of these companies that can really benefit from the situation and help improve the quality of the response that we're making to this situation.
Well, we're getting close to the end of this segment, so this would be the point where you get to make your shameless plug. How do people get a hold of you if they want more information, either on the investor side or the investee side?
Yeah, appreciate anybody who's interested in funding the future. KeiretsuCapital.com, KeiretsuForum.com, and LinkedIn's a great way to connect as well. So appreciate the opportunity to be with you guys, and hopefully we'll get a chance to have some of our portfolio companies come on and speak a bit about some of the things they're doing with their technologies to address the challenges ahead.
Final four-year students love Lawrence Technological University's thriving campus life, but LTU has always met non-traditional students' needs too. Lawrence Tech offers over 100 degree and certificate programs that can get adult students started or back on track. And most of our classes are conveniently offered evenings at our beautiful Southfield campus or online, so you can balance your social, family, and work life even while you power up your career. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.